Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while Bitcoin is still playing out the bullish breakout, we are now seeing a short-term warning signal that we need to pay attention to as more liquidity is building just above the price of Bitcoin. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment alongside my exact Bitcoin trading strategy, while the price of Ethereum is also potentially flashing a new warning signal in the short term, while the price of XRP is getting extremely close to breaking out above very important resistance, while the price of Chainlink has just now confirmed a significant breakout. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and right now the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green. Like I said in my last video, this has just now flipped back into the green, indicating a larger bullish trend. And of course, on this weekly time frame, we're getting very close to potentially invalidating this massive bearish divergence, but not necessarily fully invalidating the bearish divergence. For example, if we break out in the price above these previous highs right here, basically, if we break out into new all-time highs with the weekly candle closes, that would temporarily invalidate the bearish divergence. But if we're still sitting in lower highs in the weekly RSI, we could possibly just confirm another bearish divergence later on, maybe in a few weeks or a few months from now. And so in order to completely get rid of this bearish divergence altogether on the weekly Bitcoin chart, ideally we need to see a breakout in the RSI, not just in the price. So a breakout in the RSI, not only above this line, but ideally above this previous high, so that we have higher highs in the price alongside higher highs in the RSI, which means there's no divergence. But of course, if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we are still moving closer towards that bullish crossover, as I've been saying pretty much every day for a month now on the channel. Since much lower prices, I've been saying we're starting to flip bullish. We're clearly in the recovery out of this correction here, and right now, as recording this video, we are just now starting to see a new bullish crossover in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. And this possible bullish crossover that is flashing right now in the weekly Bitcoin MACD could possibly confirm in a little over 1 day from now at this next weekly candle close. Because as always, when it comes to an indicator like this, we need to wait for a weekly candle close because we're on the weekly time frame in order to actually confirm the signal on this time frame. And so I want to make it clear, at least for now, we've not yet fully confirmed the bullish crossover, but of course it's extremely likely we'll see this confirm either with this weekly candle close in around a day from now, or if not, the following weekly candle close in a little over 1 week from now, as a very likely scenario. And so this will be the first bullish crossover that we've seen since around October 2024, at least on the weekly Bitcoin chart. And of course, if we're looking at these previous bullish crossovers, the last couple of times this has happened on this time frame in this indicator, of course, that has led to a lot more bullish price action following the bullish crossover, and we're only just now starting to see the bullish crossover. Once again, based on these last two times, we saw much more bullish price action over the following weeks or months. And so that is a likely scenario for potentially the next few weeks and months here. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day time frame, of course, right now we're still holding well above, and we've now technically confirmed the breakout on the 3-day time frame above this previous significant area of resistance, which was sitting in between around 96,000 to 98,000. And so I'd now expect a lot of support around there. So if for whatever reason we were to see a major pullback, I'm not saying that will happen, but let's just say if somehow we see a pullback here, expect a lot of support around there. And as for resistance, we could potentially find some resistance around these all-time highs. For example, if we're looking at the 3-day candle closes, we have both of these highs coming into play at approximately 106,000. And then of course, we have closer towards the all-time high at around 109,000, give or take. So around those levels, we may find some short-term resistance, but ultimately at this point, it's extremely likely we'll hit new all-time highs relatively soon, considering we've already broken out above these previous significant points of resistance. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously right now, this bullish divergence is technically still playing out because at least for now, we've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bullish divergence, which means it's technically still active and affecting the price of Bitcoin, which means continue to expect either a bullish relief or potentially a bit of choppy sideways price action here and there as the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. So obviously, this has been perfectly playing out as I've been talking about since all the way back down here. And now, of course, we've now hit overbought territories in the daily Bitcoin RSI, which technically tells us that we're due to see a bit of a short-term cool-off, so maybe a bit of choppy sideways price action or a very slight pullback, but not necessarily a massive crash or a bearish reversal or anything like that. Of course, we hit close to overbought territories a little over a week ago, close to 2 weeks ago now, and what we saw then was just a short-term slowdown in the price, mostly sideways price action for roughly a week, give or take, before ultimately resuming the bullish trend. And so potentially in the next couple of days or so, that could be a likely scenario here, just a slight little slowdown before ultimately flipping more bullish again. But remember, overall, the trend is currently bullish on the daily time frame, and especially in terms of the momentum, we're very much bullish, as I've been saying for a while now on the channel. But if we're taking a look at the immediate short term, looking at just the 1 hour Bitcoin price chart, technically speaking, we now have a new bearish divergence to watch out for. Once again, this is only talking about the immediate short term here, the very small moves, because in case you're new to all of this, each one of these candles is just 1 hour, but on the daily time frame, each one of these candles is one entire day. So for example, if we play out 24 of these candles right here, of course, that might look like something like this, for example, on the 1 hour chart, but on the daily chart, it'll just be one single sideways candle like this before potentially resuming more bullish price action. And so that is, of course, why this bearish divergence does not necessarily contradict this bullish divergence, because they're on two different time frames. But essentially, thanks to this bearish divergence just on the 1 hour time frame, this is telling us we may see a bit of choppy sideways price action or maybe a slight pullback, kind of like what we've seen almost pretty much over the last 1 day or so. This sort of price action is a very likely scenario, potentially just over the next 1 day. Once again, only talking about the immediate short term here, and then maybe in a few days from now, maybe in a week from now, it's quite likely we could resume with more bullish price action, resuming the bullish trend. And that's especially the case due to the fact that the Bitcoin liquidation heat map is revealing a lot of liquidity that is building above the price of Bitcoin. In fact, it's sitting at close to 105,000, mainly in between around 104,500 to 104.8k approximately. So just under 105,000, we have a lot of liquidity starting to build here in the short term. And in case you're new to all of this, usually, not always, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity, especially if it's relatively close to the price of Bitcoin. So this means that it's very likely that sometime very soon, potentially over the next few days, not necessarily the next 1 day, but maybe in 2 or 3 days from now, sometime soon, it's very likely the price of Bitcoin will come up towards close to 105,000 to take out that liquidity at just under 105k. And so with all of that being said, what is my exact Bitcoin trading strategy? And well, right now, my trading strategy for Bitcoin is to simply remain long on the price of Bitcoin, as I've been saying pretty much every day since much lower prices weeks ago at around 88,000, which is where I entered this long position. Of course, I've been sharing this trading strategy, sharing this very trade very transparently here on the channel every day since then. But of course, over the last 1 day, you can see that I've really made no changes to this long position. So my stop loss is sitting at the same level that I was sitting at in my last video here on the channel, which is of course in profits above my entry price. And when it comes to taking profits, I've taken no new profits from this long position over the last 1 day. Of course, I mentioned in my last video here on the channel that I did take a small amount of profits in my last video here on the channel, which I already said here once again. But once again, over the last 1 day, I've made no new changes here. And so showing very transparently here on the channel, my current realized profit from this long position is roughly 2,700 to 2,800 USDT, and unrealized profits around 9,500. I can even refresh it live while I'm recording here. Once again, you can see over 10,000 USDT easily in profits from this long position, at least so far. And my plan moving forward with this long position is to simply slowly move my stop loss further and further into profits as the trade moves further and further into profits. And when it comes to taking profits out of this long position, basically I'll slowly reduce the size of the trade, take a small amount of profits out of the long position at potential key points of resistance. So for example, if the price approaches these highs right here, the all-time highs, maybe around there, I might look to take a small amount of profits out of that long position, just slightly reducing the size of the trade, but still remaining long. And I can do that by simply just clicking close over here, or some exchanges it says reduce order, and then I can do a limit or a market order and just close a portion of the trade, like 20% of the trade or 10% of the trade, and then close the long at a particular price level. And by doing that, I still keep a lot of the long position open, but just close a small portion of it. And if you want to take trades just like this for yourself to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, like what I'm doing right now, then of course you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange like what I'm trading on right now, which by the way, this exchange which I'm trading on right now is 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, up to $50,000 in trading rewards just by trading crypto using that link. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can also claim a $30 sign up bonus and also a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus, but only if you use that link. And on top of all of that, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also Bitfinex as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can also claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example, up to 35,000 in USDT just by trading crypto using the link below this video to Bitfinex. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can also claim some massive deposit bonuses. Like for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus onto your Bitfinex account. But remember, that's only available if you use that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, the first and second link below this video. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, and right now Ethereum is obviously continuing the massive bounce from this area of support, which is still sitting in between around 1.4k to 1550. So like I've said since months ago now on the channel at previous much higher prices, of course expect a lot of support at roughly 1,500, and that's exactly what we saw as expected. And right now the price of Ethereum is starting to break out above a very important level on the price chart, which is this previous horizontal line of support right here, and that was sitting at roughly around 2.3k to 2.5k. And as of recording this video, the price of ETH is breaking out above 2,500, which is obviously very bullish. And in order to reverse this massive bearish price structure here, forming lower highs and lower lows and breaking below this multi-year line of support, in order to start reversing that significant bearish price structure, ideally we need to see a breakout above this previous significant line of support right here, this ascending line of support, which could possibly act as resistance right here, and that is currently sitting at around 1850, almost 2.9k. And so that is definitely the next significant level that we need to break out above. But in the meantime, looking at the daily time frame, of course, we are now approaching the golden pocket area of resistance, sitting in between around 2.7k to 2.8k. So expect a lot of resistance around there, and also based on previous resistance in the price of ETH. But of course, right now, Ethereum has a lot of bullish momentum. Clearly, we're breaking out above all of these other points of resistance. And of course, I said ever since we broke out above around 2.1k, that was a significant breakout right there, revealing more bullish price action to come. And so obviously Ethereum is simply bullish, at least in the short term, clearly following a very similar price action to what Bitcoin is doing. As I always say, if Bitcoin pumps and plays out bullish price action, expect something similar. Expect a bullish price action basically for most of the major altcoins, Ethereum included. And of course, that's exactly what is playing out as expected. If Bitcoin once again is playing out this bullish price action, Ethereum will likely play out bullish price action, and that's now what's playing out. And so if you're an Ethereum holder or an Ethereum trader, honestly just pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing. If Bitcoin continues this pump here, expect a continued pump for Ethereum. And if we're taking a look at the immediate short term, just the 1 hour time frame, right now there's a possible bearish divergence flashing for Ethereum, but I want to make this clear, this is not confirmed right now, because if we just just continue pumping here and do not confirm this lower high in place in the RSI, then of course it's possible we could actually create a higher high in the RSI, meaning no divergence. And so in order to confirm this bearish divergence, we need to actually see a strong rejection in the RSI, actually cementing a lower high in place, something like this, for example, in the RSI, in order to actually confirm the bearish divergence. And how that could happen is by, for example, confirming just a couple of red candle closes in the price. And so once again, this potential bearish divergence is not confirmed and is not playing out and may never confirm. I'm just simply pointing it out here on the chart in case it does confirm. It's a possible warning signal that is flashing, but once again, not confirmed, at least for now. And even if it does confirm, it's only on the 1 hour time frame, which will likely just result in a slight little cool off, maybe for 1 or 2 days or so, in the form of either choppy sideways price action or a slight pullback. So not necessarily anything too bad. And with that being said, taking a look at Solana on the 3-day time frame, and right now Solana is still playing out this bullish divergence, as I've been saying since much lower prices a long time now on the channel. I've been saying since all the way back down here, expect a bullish relief as one of the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence, and of course that's been exactly playing out as predicted. So continue to expect this moving forward as the most likely scenario. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, of course we're now breaking out and confirming this breakout above the 50% retracement level, which was acting as a small amount of resistance at roughly 167. But right now the next resistance to watch out for is based on these highs right here at approximately 179, and above that we have major resistance at the golden pocket in between 191 to 200. And so those are the next short-term targets for Solana. But overall, of course, the shorter term trends, the daily trend, the price structure is simply bullish. Clearly we're forming higher lows, higher highs, breaking out above key resistance, which is all bullish price structure, signaling a bullish trend and more bullish price action. And as for support, in case for whatever reason we see a slight little pullback here, expect some support at around 168, approximately 167, around there. And below that, expect more support at around 154 and also at around 146. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the 3-day time frame, right now we're finally coming to an end for this massive bearish divergence. Of course, I've been saying since pretty much the beginning of this year, back at January, I've been saying pretty much every day since then, expect basically no significant bullish price action, no significant bullish momentum, and instead potentially a larger pullback is a likely scenario. And of course, I've been saying that since months ago now on the channel at much higher prices, and obviously that's been perfectly playing out exactly as I've been talking about. But right now I'm finally saying that this is potentially coming to an end, because we're now starting to break out in the 3-day XRP RSI above this previous high, which is a strong invalidation signal pointing towards a continued relief and the end of this bearish divergence. And that will especially be the case, that will especially confirm the invalidation signal if we confirm a breakout on the daily XRP chart above this descending line of resistance, which is currently sitting at approximately $2.45. So if we confirm a daily candle close above around $2.45 and ideally hold that as new support in that situation, that would be extremely bullish for XRP, signaling not just a little bullish relief, but a new bullish trend officially starting. Because obviously for the last few months or so, the price of XRP has effectively been in a bearish trend, this descending parallel channel forming lower highs and lower lows. But obviously right now we're sitting right on the edge of potentially a major breakout above the top side of the descending parallel channel, pointing towards a bullish trend reversal. But obviously, as of recording this video, we've not yet confirmed that bullish breakout, which means there's still the possibility we could see another rejection here. So keep that in mind. We've not yet confirmed the breakout, but we're getting very close to breaking out. And as always, if Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of these other altcoins are breaking out and playing out these massive bullish moves, expect something similar for XRP as a very likely scenario. And as for other points of support and resistance, of course, once we can break out above around 245, above that resistance, we could potentially find some resistance at around 256, give or take, based on this high right here. But above that, I'll be targeting around $2.80 and close to $3 as the next significant point of resistance to watch out for. And as for support, if we break out here, I'd expect this previous resistance to flip into new support. But right now, I'd also expect some support at roughly $2.30, give or take, if we were to see a rejection here. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, as of recording this video, we've now officially confirmed the breakout above this golden pocket based on the previous golden pocket area of support, which flipped into significant resistance during the end of March. And of course, it was also significant resistance during the end of April, as we could see, and that was sitting in between around 1490 to 1550. And so we've now officially confirmed the breakout above that golden pocket, above 1550, with candle closes on the daily time frame above $15.50, which is obviously extremely bullish for the price of Chainlink. And we also have this potential inverse head and shoulders pattern now starting to play out. Of course, the right shoulder, it could be a little bit larger ideally. Obviously, it's not as large as the left shoulder, so it's not a perfect textbook inverse head and shoulders pattern. But with that being said, if there's a lot of traders out there trading on the basis of this being an inverse head and shoulders pattern, it can play out as a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if, for example, a lot of people are flipping bullish right now, buying up Chainlink due to that pattern, that can basically play out more bullish price action here, pumping the price towards the price target. And in case you're wondering what that technical price target would be based on this inverse head and shoulders pattern right here, measuring out that technical price target, that will be sitting at roughly $22. So from the point of the breakout at roughly $15.50 to $22, we're talking about more than a 40% move towards the upside, or even from the current price as recorded in this video to that price target, that's still almost a 30% move, around a 27% move approximately to the upside. And that's with no leverage, or for example, even just with a 5x leverage long position, that would be more than a 100% profit, doubling your money. And as for other levels of support and resistance to watch out for, I'd now expect significant support based on this previous golden pocket right here, flipping into new support again in between around 1490 to 1550. And as for resistance, we're potentially starting to run into this resistance right now, which of course I've been saying here on the channel, expect the price to pretty much go straight towards around 1750 to 1760 once we see the breakout above 1550. And that's exactly what is now played out as expected. But expect potentially some resistance at 1750 to 1760. But once we can confirm a breakout above 1760, in that situation, it will likely continue up towards close to $20, around $19.90 to $20, which is also likely where we'll find some resistance. But then above $20, expect a continued relief up towards around $22 to $24. And we also now have multiple confirmation signals confirming a bullish trend reversal. So finally, we have a significant change in price structure from this previous significant bearish trend. Obviously, for months, since basically around December 2024, the price of Chainlink has indeed been within a bearish trend on the daily time frame, forming lower highs and lower lows. But just now, we've officially confirmed a bullish trend reversal with a significant change in price structure. Obviously, we now have a higher low confirmed, and of course, higher highs confirmed in the price of Chainlink, alongside breaking out above very significant resistance, which is all a bullish price structure pointing towards a new bullish trend. And so that is the current situation for the price of Chainlink and all of these other cryptos I've covered in this video. And those are my exact trading strategies, especially for Bitcoin, how I plan to profit from this coming bullish price action. And as always, if you want to take these trades for yourself, like what I'm doing right here, check out those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can take these trades, like what I'm doing right here, to easily profit in the crypto market, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.